Okay, the meeting will now come to order. Good evening and welcome to the July 24th, 2025 meeting of the Raleigh Historic Development Commission's Certificate of Appropriateness Committee. My name is Rob Allen and I'm chair of this commission and will be chair of the meeting this evening. At this time, I'll ask city staff to call roll.
Westrip is excused. Jordan Ryland.
Here.
Rob Allen.
Here.
Lauren Woodard.
Here.
John Scheimer.
Here.
Melissa Todd.
Here.
Thank you. It appears we have a quorum, so the meeting may proceed. As we begin the meeting, we'll ask that if you do plan to speak this evening, please come sign in at the registrar here at the center of the dais. We'll also swear you in as you come to the podium. The Certificate of Appropriateness Committee is a quasi-judicial body that is governed by North Carolina state statutes and the city's Unified Development Ordinance. We are authorized to hear requests for Certificate of Appropriateness within historic overlay districts and Raleigh historic landmark properties. During this hearing, we receive evidence to determine that the proposed changes are not incongruous with the special character of the historic district or property. We review this evidence against RHDC guidelines referenced in the city ordinance and before issuing a certificate of appropriateness. Our committee is a 12-member city council appointed commission, and our membership is composed of residents of historic districts, architects, intern architects, architectural consultants, general contractors, attorneys, urban planners, historians, and historic preservationists. We'll now have my fellow commission members introduce themselves, beginning with Jordan on my right and the room's left, and we'll work our way across the bench.
I'm Jordan Ryland. I'm a Raleigh resident of 15 years and a local architect.
Thank you. As I said, my name is Rob Allen. I'm an architect here in North Carolina. I'm also a Raleigh native and a resident of a local historic district.
I'm Lauren Woodard. I'm an architect here in Raleigh, and I've been living here for about 12 years and currently reside in East Raleigh.
I'm John Scheimer, 15-year resident of Raleigh and general contractor.
My name is Melissa Todd. I'm an architect in North Carolina, and I also live in a historic overlay district.
Thanks, everyone. And I'll now ask our City of Raleigh staff to introduce themselves, maybe starting with Colette or Aaron, you were grabbing the mic if you'd like to begin.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Colette Kinane. I am a senior preservation planner here with the city. I've worked here for 7 years, and I have a master's degree in historic preservation.
Hello, I'm Erin Morton-Pugh. I'm the other senior preservation planner with the city for 5 years now, and I also have a master's in historic preservation.
Thank you. Also want to recognize City's Council, Pat.
I'm Pat Jones, counsel to the committee.
Thank you. We'll now proceed to discussing the agenda for this meeting and the minutes from the prior COA meeting. Prior to this meeting, the agenda, the prior minutes, and staff reports were made available online. I move to approve the agenda as published. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. So we'll move on to approval of the minutes from the June 26, 2025 Certificate of Appropriateness Committee meeting. The agenda did include a downloadable form of the minutes. Looking at the minutes from June 26th, I'd like to make a motion to waive reading of the minutes. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
The motion's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that carries 4-0 because we have a member sitting that vote out. And then when it comes to those of us who were here, did we have any additions to the minutes, or were we okay? So when I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes from last month, but Melissa had an excused absence, and she's going to sit out this vote. So I move to approve the minutes from last month's COA meeting. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
It's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I guess council help me. I'm sorry for this question, but Mr. Scheimer is new on our commission here, so he should probably sit out that vote too. Okay.
the best practice
Okay.
would be for the 3 committee members in the center
Okay.
to vote.
Thank you.
So we can certainly redo that.
Okay, so I move to approve the minutes, and John, you and Melissa may sit out, so thank you. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So that's 3-0 passing of approval of the minutes. Thanks, everyone, for bearing with me. Try to get that right in the future, but it's a tricky one, meeting minutes. All right, moving on to the minor work report. Looks like between June 7th, 2025 and June 11th, 2025, we had 8 approved minor work applications. So thank you all. I don't know that there's any update needed, but we appreciate you pushing those through. We will now move on to the evidentiary hearing portion of the meeting. We'll begin by outlining the process for quasi-judicial decisions. In hearing cases, the committee conducts a quasi-judicial evidentiary hearing, meaning that this meeting is similar in form to a court hearing. State law sets specific rules and procedures concerning how this committee must make its decisions. These rules are different from some other type of land use decisions, like rezoning cases, which are legislative in nature. This committee's decisions are constrained by the standard of review set forth in state law and the UDO and the facts presented in the hearing. Our committee must base its decision based on competent material and substantial evidence presented at the hearing. For certain topics, this committee will need to hear opinion testimony from expert witnesses. These topics include projections about impacts on subjects like property values and traffic safety. Each application is heard in the same way, utilizing the same meeting procedure. The quasi-judicial format of the hearing requires that we be impartial. The written staff reports are evidence presented just as any other evidence and were made available to us, the applicants, and the public at the same time. If any of us had any reason to discuss the specific details of an application before today, we'll be asked to be excused from hearing that application. Regarding participation, this meeting is open to the public and everyone is welcome to watch. Participation in the meeting is limited. Parties have rights to participate fully. Parties may present evidence, call witnesses, and make legal arguments. Witnesses may testify as to facts to which they are competent to testify, so long as those facts relate to the legal standard. In addition, non-expert witness testimony is limited to facts and not opinions. If you will be speaking as a witness, please focus on the facts and the legal standard and avoid personal preference or opinion. There's no time limit on testimony, but repetition is discouraged. And because of the quasi-judicial format of our hearings, we're required by North Carolina law to affirm or swear persons that speak before our commission and offer evidence. So if you come to the lectern, as I mentioned earlier, you'll be sworn in and affirmed before beginning each case. So we will now begin the evidentiary hearing with application number COA 78-2025 at 1101 Hillsborough Street. It's the first item on today's agenda, and I'll begin by swearing in staff for the hearing, and then they can proceed with a presentation about the project. So I'll swear you both in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Aaron, I believe you can proceed with the presentation.
Will do. All right, this is case COA 78, 2025 for 1101 Hillsborough Street. This is a Raleigh historic landmark property, the Grosvenor Gardens Apartments. And the request is to construct a rear accessory structure and remove a tree. This is the view from Hillsborough Street of the property, moving much further in the main building, and some side views of the U-shaped apartments. This is the southeast corner of the property, approaching the proposed work area in the rear yard right here. And I believe this tree on the left is the one proposed for removal, and a view from the side street. No staff concerns.
Great, thank you. At this time, I'll welcome the applicant to the podium if they have any additional evidence or presentation they'd like to provide. Well, you can go to the podium, or are you signing in at the same time? It's multitasking. I appreciate it. We'll give you we'll give you a moment so you're probably all right-handed, so it's hard to swear in and write at the same time. And if you don't mind introducing yourself, if you'll be speaking and your relation to the case.
Worth Mills, attorney with Longleaf Law Partners, 4509 Creedmoor Road, Raleigh 27612, here on behalf of the property owner.
Okay, great. And
I'm David Maurer, architect with Tightlines Designs, here if necessary.
great.
Cornelis Verkirk, project manager, real estate developer with CASA.
Okay. And will either of you be speaking, or just Mr. Just Worth? Okay.
Need me to.
We're just available if the committee has any questions.
Okay, I'll go ahead and swear Mr. Maurer and you in as well. If you don't mind raising your right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Okay, thank you. You can proceed with any other.
And again, Chair, appreciate Aaron's presentation to you all. We're here if you have any questions, but appreciate your time this afternoon.
Okay, thank you. We'll now ask if there are any members from the public who wish to speak on behalf of this case. Seeing none, we can bring it to the table for committee questions for the applicant. Do we have any questions of the applicant? If not, we'll close the evidentiary hearing for committee discussion. Comments?
I'd like to submit to the chair and my fellow commissioners that I did live at this address for the better part of 10 years, so it does hold some sentimental value for me. I think I can be impartial in this case, but happy to recuse if the rest of the committee votes such.
Council, do you mind advising us?
Yeah, at this juncture, the other members of the committee make a decision on whether or not the member can proceed.
Okay. Any objections? I agree. So do we put that to a vote, though?
I would recommend that you do.
Okay. I move to allow Mr. Ryland to remain as a part of this case.
Seconded.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thanks for bringing that forward, Jordan. I think since I've got the mic here, I think it's a beautiful property, a really great part of Raleigh, and I think this is a nice project that adds some amenity without deteriorating its beautiful landscape. I'm sure it will be great for the residents and seems to be a nice compatible fit. And I think the location on the site, from visiting the site, was very appropriate. There were a lot of bad places they could have put it, and I think they put it on the right place on the site. So I don't have any other thoughts, though.
I think you summed it up quite well.
All right. Well, if there's no further discussion, then I'll move that based on the application, the staff report, and the testimony during the presentation in this public meeting, that the application is approved with no conditions. Do I have a second? The motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you for your application, and good luck on your project. Yeah. And as you're leaving, I'll mention that the decision will be official at the August 28th, 2025 COA meeting. So we'll need to sign it, and then we'll issue the blue placard afterwards. So thank you.
All right, are we ready for the next case?
Yep.
Okay. This is case COA 80, 2025. The property is 603 Elm Street in the Oakwood Historic District. The request is to construct a rear screen porch, to alter a rear window and door location and replace the door, and to construct a patio and walkway. This is a view from Elm Street and some oblique views towards the rear yard where the work is proposed. The rear facade of the house looking north. Better look at the house and the door and window for relocation. Looking back towards the south, and general rear yard views. Summary of staff concerns, just some material design details typically provided as conditions remain.
Great. Thank you, Aaron. Before you begin, please state your name and relation to the case for the record, and then I'll swear you in.
I'm Ashley Morris with Pell Street Studio and architect for the project.
Hi, I'm Kellen Moore, and I'm the homeowner.
Great. If you don't mind raising your right hand, and I'll swear you both in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You can proceed with any additional information you might have or presentation.
We're just happy to answer any questions that the commission has, and we are happy to work with staff on those conditions for the materials.
Okay. At this time, I'll ask if there are any members of the public wishing to speak about this case. Seeing none, we'll move to committee questions. Any questions for the applicants? Hearing none, we'll close the evidentiary hearing for us to discuss it as a committee. Committee, any thoughts? All right. Yeah, looks like a pretty compatible project. Hard to see from the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be nice. So, all right. If anyone wants to go for it, okay.
Based on the congruity analysis, lack of staff concerns, and previous similar applications, as well as the evidence presented in this hearing, I move that the application be approved, subject to the following conditions. One, that the following materials and specifications be submitted to and approved by staff prior to installation or construction. 1A, brick patio details, including installation pattern and color. 1B, stone walkway details, including installation pattern and color. 1C, gutter and or downspout locations and specifications, if any. 1D, exterior lighting locations and specifications, if any.
Thank you. The motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Did I hear an aye? Okay. Thank you. The motion carries, so congratulations. Thank you for your application. It will be approved formally at the next COA meeting, August 28th, 2025. So thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. The third evidentiary hearing is COA 82-2025. Its address is 810 through 816 Brooklyn Street in the Glenwood, Brooklyn, street side historic overlay district. And I believe Colette Canane has a presentation.
I do, thank you. So as you mentioned, this is case COA 82-2025 for 810 through 816 Brooklyn Street. There are 4 properties included in this application, and they are highlighted on the map. The nature of the request is to construct 2 primary townhome structures, install a driveway, and install front walks. So there are 3 existing houses on this site. They were previously approved to be demolished, and that 365-day delay has passed. So for the photographs, trying not to focus on the existing houses, but to give you a sense of the property, here's a view from Brooklyn and Clay Street intersection. And this is a view directly across Brooklyn, standing in an existing driveway entry, looking towards the property. Another view from Brooklyn, standing in front of the entrance to the existing apartments that are at the corner. Those apartments are not in the Glenwood-Brooklyn Historic District. This is a view of the site from Clay Street, and another view from Clay closer to the rear of the property line, which is close to or on that fence that you can see there. An abbreviated summary of staff concerns. One of them is that front setbacks are typically measured to the front wall of the house. The application provided setbacks measured to the front of the porch. Supporting evidence for setbacks was not provided. Supporting evidence was not provided from contributing structures for height, form, fenestration, design features. There was a little bit of conflicting information provided in the written description, so clarification is needed there, and typical material details and specifications that are usually provided as conditions. The applicant does have a presentation, and there is a copy of that available. Also, I should note that in the staff report, there was one typo that was drawn to my attention today in the staff concerns. In the built area, I noted that it was described as being 26%. The application said 36%.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll now have the applicant come forward and proceed with their presentation. And will you both be speaking or?
Yes, thank you.
If you don't mind coming to the lectern and introducing yourself and your relation to the case.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Thompson. I'm the developer and general contractor.
Great, thank you. And I'll go ahead and swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Stewart, you can go ahead and, if you don't mind, introducing yourself as well.
Thank you. It's next. Okay, great. Thank you. Molly Stewart, Morningstar Law Group, here on behalf of our applicant. I see you're getting your handouts now. Just so that they're not distracting, I will kind of quickly tell you what's coming at you because it's not particularly interesting. This handout that you're receiving right now is really just a way to connect the dots. I will be showing some photos of some of the contributing structures. My slides show you the construction date for those structures. And this is just the backup for that, coming from the tax page showing when those structures were constructed. So in case anyone was questioning that, needed to look it up, that's the closing the loop on that. The other piece you're getting is simply required that since we have slides, you get a copy of those. So that's it. And with that, I will go ahead and get started. So there's a lot we could talk about here tonight. But a few key things that we really want to focus on to provide a little bit more color and background as to the need for this request. So on your screen, you see the site here. So this is the site. And what you see here is the district goes this way. It is also across the street here. However, this is the ragged edge of the historic district, and there are a lot of different kinds of buildings around it. So we see the 5-story apartment building to the west. There's a commercial building immediately back behind. Some townhomes over here. These are not in the district either. So there's just a lot of different kinds of development going on in this area. This is another view, just looking northwest, looking at the site there that is circled as well. So just for orientation, I will be showing you some pictures starting here, going across the street and looking that way. So here we are looking, the site is back on the right here of the street. So this is the small section of actual contributing structures nearby. There are just a few of them. This is across the street from those houses you just saw. So we're looking at both sides of Brooklyn Street here. This new construction from 2020 is directly across the street from the site. A few things that we'll get back to and talk about later, and I'll be showing a similar photo again later. Some commonalities with the site are those kind of basement, lower level attached garages, the simplified craftsman features here, with some design mixture with the shake siding, some different kinds of siding, different column types. This is that 5-story apartment building, so just continuing down Brooklyn Street for that context. This is immediately next to the site. And back behind the site, you have that commercial structure with the parking lot. So I want to go quickly through the staff concerns, and there are a few different groups of those concerns. Here, it says topographic details were not provided. So I do want to provide you some additional information on that. What you see on your screen here is a survey that is part of the application materials, and it shows the existing topography, which is relatively flat. It has enough slope to provide kind of the drainage that you want. Nothing about this topography causing a need for massive cut and fill, that sort of thing. So nothing kind of restrictive about that. And I would like to invite Mr. Thompson up to tell us a bit more about his plans for the topography going forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my first time doing this other than a variance, so bear with me. Feel free to ask any questions. This site, as you can see, you may be able to tell from the topography lines on the west side of the site, does start up higher and go slightly down. It's about maybe a 3-foot variation from corner to corner, from the west corner to the east corner. We are planning to follow that topography all the way down and to keep it disturb that topography as little as possible. As you can tell from the floor plans and the elevations, we do have a rear entry under the garage underneath the back. We want to use as much of the existing topography, and as Molly stated before, it goes right straight down to a storm drain, so that will lend to good drainage. Our engineers don't see any issue with that. So is that all you need from me? Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to provide an update on that information, a bit more detail on that storm drain that was mentioned. You can see it here on the site in the photo on the left. I just want to show you where that is on the site. That is back behind the structure itself. Not a lot more to say about that. So this is the site plan, just kind of showing overlaid on that existing topography. The next comment that we heard was about the setbacks. In the summary of comments, we heard a focus on the fact that they are typically measured to the front wall of the house, and that's absolutely true as far as sort of UDO required setbacks absolutely are measured from the front wall of the house, the front wall of the heated space. Now here you see the setbacks that were provided in the application. Those are to the front of the porch, and there are a couple of reasons that they were done that way. One is the goal of the district, right? Is sort of about the visual effect and what is viewable from the street. And so those porches are going to be very prominent. They're going to affect that experience more than whatever's back behind there. That's one reason for using those. The other piece is that the surrounding setback information that we have and that is presented to you here is only available to us via GIS. And GIS does not distinguish between the heated space and the unheated. So the porches are part of those masses that are shown here in this view. And so just for consistency, we've used that. Like I said, the setbacks from that front wall, those are used for required setback purposes for the UDO. We didn't know of any reason that would be relevant for this purpose, so went with consistency here. And as you see here, as far as how far those setbacks are, here we're looking at 9 feet back from the right-of-way for this site. And that's within the range of the setbacks that you see in the surrounding area as well. This was just some additional information, not really a separate comment, it was just more information in the staff comments about setbacks and a definition. So we'll just put all those in one group and move on to the height question. So here we had a question about what the height is, and we do have some clarification for you on that. I'd like to invite Mr. Thompson back up to tell us about that.
So the height, now, so there's an incorrect measurement, what appears to me from the base that I can see, and unfortunately the kind of the heart and soul of this operation is not able to be here with us this evening. So I'm doing my best. So, but what I can see here is that we're going to be about 32 feet 8 inches based on the height of the stairs, which is at a maximum of 8 inches per stair riser. There are 7 steps totaling 56 inches. So if we add that to the 27 feet 10 inches, we come up with 32 feet 8 inches at this dimension here. Now, unfortunately, I do not have a scale with me, so I was not able to scale this photo for the purposes of this meeting. But I am thinking now that there is that somewhere around 40 feet is going to be the overall height of the structure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And on that note, we absolutely recognize that having that detail would be helpful, and having our architect David Bryson here would be helpful as well. Our goal in being here tonight is to hear your feedback, to take that back, and to get those answers for you as well. So. And with that, so that was sort of a detailed question about height, but there's also just sort of a bigger height picture going on. So to step back from exactly what that height is, just showing what is the character of the height in the neighborhood. And there's a range of heights. You see some 2.5 stories, some 1 stories. These houses are actually 3 houses apart. There are only 2 houses between them over on Wills Forest. So, livable space on the 3rd floor there on the left, just a 1st floor there on the right. Again, this repeated pattern. So 700 Devereaux, 3rd floor living space. Immediately next to it, 914 North Boylan, just a 1-floor structure there, which in turn is next to another 2.5. So the character here of height is this bouncing back and forth. So wild swings in height, certainly in excess of sort of the 10% guideline that is given in the guidelines. And in addition to that, there's reason to think differently about this site. So the examples I just showed you are from the heart of the district. So they don't face kind of this ragged edge of the district here. Here, there's more of a challenge. Keeping consistency raises the question with what? Technically, it would be those contributing structures. There aren't very many of them. They're all often sort of one direction. There is another one there sort of across from the apartments, but even that one has been modified. So as far as height, it's difficult here. If we wanted to come in close to those 1-story structures that are the block up, here we're also facing that 5-story structure. So here we think we do have some special conditions on the site, and that strict compliance with that 10% height variance standard would be an unusual and necessary hardship on this site, given its location, which is very different from those others that you've seen in the heart of the district. The site is here. It's right here behind that apartment building. There's the site on the right, again showing what's there on the left, which does start to make that transition into the taller portion of town. So again, just sort of sitting there in this hole with very little actual district context around it. As far as size, scale, and massing, I think we've really just discussed that. There is this more detailed point about the main roof ridge sloping down immediately in both directions to reduce overall height. So I did want to look at that briefly. Here's one example from Glenwood Avenue. This is a contributing structure. And what you see here, these are 2 views of the same structure. So from one side, you see a flat roof line. And from the other side, from the gable end, of course, you see that slope down. That's also true at 1202 Fillmore. You get the same effect. It's that flat roof line from one side, and then it slopes down from the gable end. Very much what's proposed here. So there are some differences, right? So we're looking at 3 different units that have that gable end that slopes down, just like the examples we saw. The difference here, if these were detached, you might see, more of a dormer on those sides that are in between. But here they get attached, so you don't end up with a complicated roof situation that doesn't work very well. So this is a relatively minor difference, but it follows the same general pattern for congruence with the neighborhood. That next comment, this is actually just the same comment repeated. Again, to step back. So I do this because the next set of staff comments really go into detail about the window sills. Are they even with the rest of the window, are they a little bit wider? How does that work? Is there, it's raised as a concern that evidence hasn't been provided to show that there's a contributing structure that has that exact model. So I wanted to just sort of bring up the guidelines that were given. The 3 photographs on your screen are the only 3 examples given for new construction in the design guidelines. Those 2 on the left, those are in Oakwood. And what's highlighted, all 3 of these, by the way, are given in the design guidelines as good examples of new construction to follow. And so there on the left, you see that double portico that's echoed above it. There simply isn't something else like that in Oakwood, especially that window with the square mullions going all the way down to the floor. Not something that you're going to find in any of the classic Oakwood styles. And in fact, in the center photo, you even see it called out as the inset front porch stepping outside of those house types. So presenting something entirely new, visually obvious, but entirely new and without precedent. It wouldn't be possible to present evidence that there's a porch like this elsewhere in Oakwood. And it's even more true there on the right. This is the Capitol Square District. And here we have Newbern Place with a large-scale development. That's located here. That's what that looks like. I'm sure you're all familiar. This is called out, those words at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to see if I can close this menu so you can read that. These are the words that are in the special character essay about this structure. So it talks about, it's larger in scale than other things, and it's a modern interpretation of Queen Anne styling, and that gives it a decidedly residential character. This is the only place in the special character essay for this district that the Queen Anne style is mentioned at all. And I at least am not aware of another Queen Anne structure in this district. So what we see here is a much larger, much more massive residential use with a style outside of the norm for this district and being held up as the standard. So just to kind of give that background as far as what an applicant's looking at, as far as what is and is not a compatible new structure. This is what we're looking at. These are just some surrounding buildings. You can see that condo in the back there. The next staff comment relates to, again, there's a collection of details here, windows, whether they're close to the corner boards or not, variety of windows sizes and shapes on one facade, just some additional evidence that was not in our application, but you can see that, yes, there are a variety of window types in the district. On one facade. And here's where we really start diving down into those details. And I can tell you that Mr. Thompson here is very open to your thoughts and comments as far as what is important to the visual effect of these buildings. So happy to hear those things. You won't hear strong pushback on these details. But again, there's a concern that we weren't able to provide evidence of a historic basement level attached garage. Like I said, it was granted across the street. So yeah, there simply aren't these details. We aren't able to go around the neighborhood and find each of them exactly as they are. With respect to what the materials are, again, very open to conditions or preferences on that. We do want your feedback on these. And screening, again, no issue with that. So nothing to be addressed. And the only couple more points I want to make is that this is the model, right? So we saw that, yes, it's okay to do some different building type using some of these historic details. Here, I particularly want to point out the tapered columns, the brackets that you see here around the neighborhood. These are all offered here. It's a little hard to see these brackets, but they're there. Clear that. Using those. So here you see a lot of craftsman features, including those upper sashes that are a little more complicated than the lower sashes, similar to what's across the street, perhaps a little more detail on what's proposed here. But with some proportions and roof slopes, maybe more like some of the other styles in the district, consistent with the special character essay noting that there are stylistic hybrids in this neighborhood, mixing elements from different styles. And I think that's what you see here. Again, similar with these windows here, you actually do see a window quite close to the corner board. Again, I don't think that's necessarily something that we were focused on providing evidence for. This is just a conversion project that happened. And of course, offering porches that are so prevalent throughout the neighborhood. So overall, the goal absolutely was to look around the neighborhood, see what the overall look is, to try and be congruous with that. Very happy to hear that if there's somewhere that mark is missed, we want to hear that feedback, take it back to David Bryson, the architect, and come back to you with that. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I will ask if there are any members of the public that wish to speak on behalf of this case. Seeing none and hearing none, we'll proceed with committee questions for the applicant. Anyone? I'm willing to start. I've got a short list. If I know we received some new information, and I think it's helpful. And it's mentioned many times in the staff report that no evidence was provided, but I don't think that's intended to come across and say the application is doing anything wrong. Just that we may need some evidence. And I think in many cases, like the below grade garages, I think there might be one very close by. So providing the evidence may help make a more well-rounded application. I think there was also just many instances where I was reading through where there was some conflicting information. So I'll just run through a few of those questions. So the window material, I think it was mentioned, there was some verbiage mentioning fiberglass, but also the application mentioned aluminum clad. Is there, and if you're going to answer questions, if you don't mind, come into the podium so we can get it in the microphone for record.
Absolutely. So yes, thank you. The window sash and sill materials made out of fiberglass, they look exactly like sanded and planed wood finish. They are easy to maintain, and they last forever. I usually do not do aluminum simply for a cost measure, and to me that looks even less to period. And it's very difficult to get the type of upper sash mullion that you see in the top windows that's in that aluminum clad, and it is it's an unneeded cost, and they are arguably is maintenance free if painted right the first time. We use fiberglass simply. We are happy to use wood. We'd rather not, simply because they are just so maintenance free, and you can achieve the same look using. We use the Marvin Elevate is the series that we use primarily when we're trying to create a wood window look.
Okay, and if you'll hold tight right there for just a second, if I could ask staff, can you remind us, have we seen this? Marvin Elevate was just mentioned, but have we seen fiberglass windows in this district?
Yes, fiberglass windows have been approved on additions.
Okay.
I don't think any of the new construction in the district has seen fiber, but you have approved fiberglass windows on new construction in other districts, certainly.
Okay. The name seemed familiar, so we may ask, depending on how this goes, we may need some details about that, which could be provided either in a revised application or working with staff. We'll get there, but thanks for clarifying that. You answered the question about the height when you were up here before, because I think it's just good to have that for the record. It looked like maybe there was not a measurement from the floor level down to the grade, and I think that's how it got confused a little bit.
What we're missing, and I think it's in your slide there was an incorrect measurement. I think on the second to highest measurement, that was where the incorrect was. So I was able to quickly look at that and make a scale, comparison, and based on the height of the steps, I could do it in more detail, but I still think we're going to be somewhere around 40 feet, and there's several. I think Molly had some information about some of the other buildings in the area that we had measured. We do. Well, I had a surveyor measured 6 contributing structures, 5 contributing structures. That's in the application.
Yeah, it was in the. There were the 4 shown.
Over 40 feet tall.
Yeah. Okay, and we'll discuss that, amongst committee members. But I did see that in there. How about a landscape plan? I know there was commentary, there were statements about not needing a tree protection plan, but the future landscape plan, is that
That is
in
something that
development?
I can provide
Okay.
at the next meeting. We'll be happy to. That's, again, as Molly said, we want to get as much feedback as possible so we can get everything you guys need for this for round 2.
Okay, and
I just wanted to note that for the landscape plan, for vacant lots, it's just the first 25% of the lot from the street. So both from Clay and Brooklyn. That's the area of review for landscaping.
Okay. Got it. And I think the last question I had was just in the right side elevation, which I believe would be cardinal east, at least the application appeared to show that upper dormer with no opening in it. Is that intended? And I don't know if we can get to that slide. There were a lot of new slides presented.
Is this right here? I think I have the next one on the next page. Pardon.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right, so that's
It's after the front elevations that had the benchmarks.
This one, on mine, it shows this would be, I'm sorry?
It's 2 pages later, I think.
2 pages
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No need to apply to every bill. I don't know if I have that page on. 2 pages later.
It's right before precedent photos.
I do see that.
It says right side elevation. I just want to make. I want to make sure we were.
This is something that I would have to, I believe that there is a missing window there.
Okay.
Perhaps this was again, I can't imagine why this would have been a missing, or if it was supposed to be there at all, because this is on the 3rd floor and part of that 3rd floor level. But this is something I'll definitely ask David about.
Okay.
It looks like I know we're not evaluating the plans, but the plans are included in the application, that's where either an elevator or a closet would go. So I would.
Yep.
They were definitely, absolutely, and thank you for bringing that up, because we do have plans to put in elevators from the garage all the way up to the 4th floor to accommodate some of the demands of the marketplace.
Okay. I'll let my other committee members ask questions. I don't have any others at this moment.
Going back to the windows, I know, I don't know of any truly continuous fiberglass units that have simulated divided lights that are not just inside the glass panes, but I do know that there are fiberglass clad products, which would be like the aluminum clad that was mentioned, same deal, fiberglass on the exterior, wood on the interior, but they do offer the simulated divided lights where it's part of integrated into the frame of the window.
It's the true SDL and not a grill between the glass, which is it's called GBG, as you probably know. But it's yes, this will be true SDL, simulated divided light. The mullions will be on the outside of the panes of the glass. They will be wood on the inside, and they will be solid. They are solid fiberglass construction on the outside. They are not a clad product.
Okay.
It's actually molded fiberglass.
Any other questions, Melissa?
No, not any other questions. Thank you.
John, Lauren, Jordan, any questions? Hearing none, we'll close. You may have a seat. We'll close the evidentiary hearing so that we can discuss it here at the bench. Input, thoughts?
Yes. Just looking at I really appreciate the updated information on height to clarify it. And we are looking for a goal of overall congruity. And I think in this case, it is an unusually located site, being on the edge of district and being so near to new development that is outside of district, but it's not really our charge to compare it to things outside of our district. And height and massing specifically refer to well-related buildings, which per the definition is contributing structures that are within a block and a half of your structure, which is difficult to one side, but they do exist on the other side. And the examples provided are pretty far flung. I would need to see more evidence supporting height of this size closer to your structure, and height from a contributing structure specifically. The well-related structures in this area tend to be shorter, and I won't go so far as to start dictating how tall, but I think just providing, well a few blocks away is not really the charge of the height. And it's one thing in terms of the project, which I do think as a whole has leanings towards being congruous. And so I don't think in its presentation as a whole it feels like it can't get there, but height is a big one. And it's something that I don't feel like has been provided the proper amount of evidence for us to sign off on it that way.
Yeah, so in the glossary from the guidelines, it does say that well-related is within 1.5 blocks. So that does make it tough in a district that, meanders around and the site is right on the edge. So I understand your concerns. And you did point this out, but it does say existing contributing buildings within 1.5 blocks. So that's the definition of well-related and nearby structures, but.
Right, and I will say, just in reference to recent past cases where we've had this discussion of, what if we're on one of these edge conditions where it's difficult to find examples, we have talked about pulling from entire districts before, but it has been something that we've agreed upon as being a standard we're looking for. And in this case, I feel like there are plenty of close by contributing structures to pull a sample size from that unfortunately don't support the height of this, or I would think don't, since the ones that they've provided are farther out. So yeah, that's mine.
Okay. What do you all think about the staff report had a lot of commentary about the setbacks, and the houses that are there today are very, very close to the street. There's kind of like a stepping in plan, which I think for the proposed building is helpful, that it's not an overwhelming, I don't think this necessarily wants to be just like a flat face.
It helps with the perceived mass.
I think that actually, even if it's different than what's there now, what's proposed is a better, experience along the street front,
if
and
this
feels.
application had them all in lockstep, it would be a move that I think we would be happy to see at the second round.
I agree. I think sort of in tune with that, something that's really jumping out at me is the garages and sort of how that adds to the real and apparent height of these. I mean, there's not, there's essentially no contributing structures with garages. There are some in the district that do have them, but they do obviously add, essentially a whole story to, or 2/3 of a story to the structure, as well as changing the relationship that the facade has to the street, right? Many houses in this district, many of the contributing structures in the district have a porch, but it's nowhere near 8 feet off the sort of plane of the sidewalk in the way that these are. I mean, this is at least twice as tall as what I would consider most of the contributing structures in the district, just from grade to the front porch, to say nothing of the rest of the height.
though.
I think considering not including the garages would be a huge step in addressing the scale both at the street and overall for the project.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. It's not, it would not be considered contributing, but the multifamily directly across the street from this, I noticed when I was on site, has a, it has the garage along the long side, which I think is more challenged. I mean, I do appreciate that this has them tucked, they're giving up some site to allow for, a new alley, and it's not, the garages, they might be visible from, as you come around Clay Street, but at that point you're maybe not even in the district. And it is utilizing, the fall of the site to, which is helpful, so I understand your critique, but I think it's better than any of the other three sides of this location. Any other committee thoughts?
I mean, could that go lower, potentially into grade, and kind of make that better?
It would be a question.
Side, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
it would be a question for the applicant, but if we can reopen the evidentiary hearing in a moment and ask them that and see if they want to have any other rebuttal or statements. Do we have any other comments? Okay. At this time, we'll reopen the evidentiary hearing in case the applicant wants to. You've been hearing our discussion in case you want to either provide any responses or ask any additional questions.
Thank you. I appreciate that opportunity. These are some very thoughtful comments, and we are certainly taking notes. We're taking these back with us. I think most of these, there won't be any issue. So that's very good to hear. Just a couple comments I wanted to share. One is that there's really two different things going on with the height. One is, as we heard, absolutely correct that the standard is these nearby well-related buildings. That is true, by the way, only for height, not some of the other features. That the language on that is specific to height. But there's also the special conditions language. It's going to take me a minute to get to, but well, I'll have to find it. But in any event, and what this allows is that something might be congruous based on something different about this site compared to the rest of the neighborhood. So apologies, it's taking me a while to find this. It might be toward the end. There it is. So this is different, right? So this is what provides an option for a site like this one that is so hemmed in by other types of development. Like you saw immediately next door, the 5 stories, how do you deal with that? Whereas, our contributing structures only in one direction, only on one side of the street, and very, very different from what's next to us on the other side. So really trying to make that difference. So there is a way to sort of look outside, not in doing that initial calculation, but in looking at the larger picture. It also raises some questions of sort of how do we deal with structures like across the street. It is very different. We think we've done a better job of sort of putting those garage doors where they should be. This has some real differences and is facing the same set of nearby contributing structures, and this is what was built in 2020. So not really sure how to process that. There's one more picture I wanted to get back to, because I heard a concern that we don't see contributing structures with a higher porch, and we will need to do our best to get actual data on this, but we do have at least one example. So I apologize, there are a lot of slides, but let's see if it's here. No, it might be forward. Yeah. So this is our 4-story, or sorry, 4-unit structure, which I'm apparently not going to find quickly. There it is. So there on the right, you do see a higher porch, and there's even a slope going up to where the steps start. So we can pull some numbers on that, but certainly there's a wide variation in porch height, so we do see that in the neighborhood. Other than that, the only other piece that I wanted to get back to was that we did have a question about whether it would be possible to sort of dig down in the back to bring that garage down. Did I hear that correctly?
That was a comment from in our discussion.
We understood the goal to be to not do that, but we can address whether it's possible.
Thank you, guys. So I am of the opinion that, again, this meeting was supposed to give us a lot of direction into where we needed to go, what we needed to modify. And if you look at the site from the west to the east, the west side is the higher, and it's almost dead flat, and by the time you get to the east, it starts graduating pretty significantly. We're going to work with that topography. So the ones closer to that side of the building, the one closest to the west will be, the ones closest to the condo building will be the taller structures. Now, there is some cut and fill that can be done. I want to talk to the community about weighing one, if we could drop the height of the roof. I'd like not to cut and fill. I'd like to not disturb the natural topography of the site itself from a cost standpoint as well as from an aesthetic standpoint. So we would like to talk to my architect about how we can lower the heights of those gables and still not sacrificing the interior square footage and functionality of the floor plan. But like I said, I would love for them to be. I'd love, in the back of the, so we looked and I heard the gentleman in the baseball cap, Mr. Jordan, excuse me. You made an 8-foot. So they are, I think the tallest one had 7 steps, and 7 steps at a height of 8 inches per riser is right about, is under 5 feet. It's just a little over 4 feet. So because of the way that the lot gradually slopes towards the back, we're able to utilize that, and we really want to keep the garage floor as minimum as possible. So they're really going to be only about a 7-foot garage door, and they're going to have a special opener to where they have almost 2 inches of clearance between the door and the ceiling.
Well, sorry. I was just looking at your drawings here, and that's the number that I was in your original PDF package.
And are you?
So
you're talking about the rear porch, Jordan?
Well, the garage floor is at -8 from the first floor, and I guess I understand that at least, especially on the west side, that seems pretty doable with almost, you're at 347, kind of at the highest corner. So maybe you have a little, like a foot of difference. And then on the east side, the grade, like you said, slows down pretty significantly. Those topo lines get wider. You're not flat, but you're going from, let's just say 342 in the front to 340 in the back. So you're still going to have, just call it 6 feet of, it's not 8. But, that was, again, just something to consider.
And I appreciate the comment. So would it be helpful if I had, so based on the topography and based on what we'd like to do, I'd like to get my architect to set those points and then set those porch elevations to give you a little bit more, accurate depiction of how high the porches are going to be altogether.
Yeah, I mean, just...
And we can
overall,
also,
I think your drawings are pretty clear, but the ones that we have questions about are the ones that aren't super clear right now, right? Like
I get it.
The site plan and the sort of building elevations with the heights called out. There's just a couple discrepancies that I'm trying to work through on the fly here. So even it just feels from the evidence that I see here that porches are going to seem taller, especially as you march along the site from west to east.
Okay.
But yeah, if we can get those heights pinned down, I'll be able to speak, I guess, more accurately to that.
Let's do that. Look at that. We'll do that. Thank you.
Going along still with height, I see there's a lot of photographic evidence, and I may have missed it because there's a lot of materials we have now, but I didn't see any actual heights of build structures listed or where they are in relation to your proposed site. So that would also be helpful evidence.
We
to
have that evidence,
evaluate.
and we have, this was, I don't,
The one that we did previously that was part of the application.
I believe it was
So
the very
there-
last page.
Yeah.
okay,
Melissa's
so
last
yes, we had
page.
other structure, we had a surveyor go and shoot
Last
heights from the
two.
sidewalk.
But the staff comments, I thought, said that those were all non-contributing. Is that correct? Right. But I thought, like, all of the photographic evidence that we received today, it would be helpful to have heights associated with those.
Heights,
well.
which,
Yeah, I'll clarify that the exhibit for the height, it is a land survey that does have the height listed. And so yes, the height was provided. It's helpful if we see, I think on the slide we're seeing right here is a really good example. I know you might not know exactly what the height is, but I think showing what the estimated height of a structure like this is helps us compare like what we see on the screen right now, rather than on a survey where we just see some benchmark elevations and the height.
So some
There's not like it's hard when we don't have, the exhibit is not visually connecting us with the elevation, and so I think we're probably struggling.
Some photographs of those sites listed in that survey. Is that what I'm?
That's what we often see, and I think that probably I'm speaking for myself, but for most of us, I think that's helpful, like comparative evidence to see, even if you feel like the heights are just listed on this exhibit, like Jordan said a moment ago. We're trying to work through it in real time and seeing that. And I'll just echo what he said with the front and rear elevations do show just a straight, elevation line at the ground plane. And I think if it indicated even close to the actual slope, that would help. It'd probably help your architect design the final finished floor elevations, but I think that would be helpful for us to see, because I think that will impact height. Some of them are going to be taller than the other. It's just the reality of it, if that makes sense.
It does. It does.
Okay.
So if anything, if we have any questions on that, I'm sure that Molly has. I'm sorry, what were we looking for, Molly? Looking for the photos. So we'll make a note of that, because there were some photos taken of those structures and so it did lend.
Well, just to clarify, right, we want the height of contributing structures. So if it's non-contributing, it doesn't.
How would they not be? Would
The year they're built.
the year? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was one example is there was an apartment building built, and I'm sure it's in this contributing.
There we go.
But it's it's outside of my guess is it's outside of the period of significance that there was a multifamily.
Thing that we gave you is
It's in the period.
Okay.
in that packet. There are some photos in the application
Okay.
that are not.
So I
Okay.
think it would help if we're trying to look, maybe expand where we're looking in the district beyond just this 1.5 blocks. It would be helpful to have, the photographs and where they are in the district.
Sure.
And for
We
your
can certainly do
reference,
that.
I will note in this packet, both 809 and 813 Brooklyn, which are across the street, are included, but those are not considered contributing because they are new construction. So
So what's considered contributing is built before 1946. Is that correct?
So it will be identified in the Glenwood Brooklyn Historic District Report. There will be a status in there, but typically, yes, they are constructed within the period of significance for the neighborhood. That's right.
1907 to 1940 is what the guidelines say.
Right.
and that survey report has a map of the contributing structures, so they're pretty easy to identify that way as well.
I'm sorry, a map?
It has a map in the survey of the contributing structures, so you can identify them that way,
Okay.
rather than one by one.
We'll send you the link.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for us or?
I just wanted to make one last point as to evidence that we need to see to be able to determine overall congruity. Things like window placement, the details are important for us to determine overall congruity, and the more of that we feel like we're missing, the harder it is for us to determine. So it may feel like a small thing. Actually seeing this window that's kind of close to the corner, that's evidence, and it's the kind of thing that we do need to be able to feel good about claiming congruity on a project. So anything that has been called out in the staff comments as missing evidence, if there's a way to find it either photographically or otherwise on a contributing structure, it does help us a lot. It's not something that is a flip request from us. It's something that we do need.
Absolutely. So this is my first go around, and I am learning as I go, and I appreciate all of your patience.
Yeah, like
It
if
doesn't
you
say you need every little thing. The more of it you can find, the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, many people will come here and say this photo, the photo on the right on the screen, they'll put like a big bright yellow box around that window and say, here's an example of this condition, and this is from a contributing structure in the district, and this is why we think it's congruous. So it's not, like Lauren said, we're not kind of being nitpicky here, but it's just once you have this preponderance of evidence that sort of supports your case,
Sure.
We're much more likely to be able to look at it and say yes, which is what we all want.
Great.
Otherwise, we're just sort of flying off of our impressions of the district and what we would assume would be there, and then staff comments, which are much more, learned historians than we are. And so, yeah, the evidence is important, and these applications can get very long because of that, but we appreciate the effort.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm happy to do it. Want to comply. Want to make this work, and want to make you guys feel good about it.
Great. Any other committee questions or thoughts?
These are already included in the staff guidelines, but just some other things that would be helpful, like equipment locations and some of the specifications that are noted already in the staff comments. There's a long list.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Equipment locations. That's something that I was.
Yeah, and those are occasionally conditioned, but they are also on a tight site. You're going to have to plan for them at some point. So,
Can I ask you what you guys prefer? Because we're happy. Because we have enough space to go in between the buildings, which is where I would prefer to keep them. That way that they're hidden. That way they're more aesthetically pleasing. That they can be hidden by landscaping.
We're not going to prescribe a solution, but what you're suggesting does not sound inappropriate.
Sounds I appreciate that.
Typically, less visible is probably helpful. If you looked at other applications, that's typically appropriate. Any other final thoughts? Okay, we'll close the evidentiary hearing. We appreciate your commentary.
Thank you.
Do we have any additional committee discussion that we need to have? Yeah. I'm gonna reopen the hearing. Just to ask you all one final question. It seems like this is likely going to be deferred, and I might need staff's help with when the next meeting when you would like to bring it back would be, because I think we may have already missed the submission deadline for the next meeting. Is that right, Colette?
Not quite.
Okay.
So depending on how much time you would like to make revisions, we would recommend that those revisions be made in time for inclusion in a staff report so that there isn't a lot of new information coming at a meeting. For the August meeting, the deadline is August 1st, which is next Friday. Is that doable? And if not, September, let's see, So we do need to have you choose a date. If you would like to have enough time, after the August meeting, the next meeting will be September 25th. So you will have about a month and a half to work on revisions.
We would like to come back to the August 28th meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll now close the evidentiary hearing. If there's no other discussion, I'll move to defer the application until the August 28th, 2025 certificate of appropriateness meeting. Any other discussion on the motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you for your participation. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next month. That brings us to the end of the evidentiary hearing. Do we have any other business that we need to discuss at the moment? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.